Welcome back to Warehouse and Operations as a Career. I'm Marty, and I've received a couple of different questions about forklift attachments over the last couple of months, so I thought we'd find a few answers for them. So today, let's talk about a few different tools we can see in warehousing, manufacturing, food distribution, in the paper, beverage, chemical, recycling, and even import-export operations. We're going to be talking about the clamp, the barrel clamp, the roll clamp, and the slip sheet or push-pull attachment. I think it's important to state that a forklift by itself is already a powerful piece of equipment. Add an attachment to it, and we have changed the whole game. We have changed what that forklift can do, the way the load's going to move, and the operator's responsibilities. And we have changed the risk. Some facilities love attachments, while other facilities discourage their use or only allow a very small group of trained operators to use them. Now, they can certainly, in the right environments, increase productivity. However, in the wrong environment, you'll find it's easy to damage product, slow down the productivity, and even present safety concerns. Forklift attachments came about because freight does not always come to us on a perfect 48 by 40 pallet. Warehousing, manufacturing, and shipping had to evolve. Companies wanted to move more product, reduce damage, save money, use less packaging, and handle odd-shaped freight more efficiently. Companies have been building forklift attachments for decades, tracing their beginnings back to the late 1940s as a way to let a conventional lift truck push, pull, clamp, lift, and rotate different types of loads for a host of different reasons. They were created to solve problems. A clamp attachment allows us to handle loads without forks going under a pallet. You may see carton clamps in appliance warehouses, paper goods, electronics, wine, packaged food, chemicals, and plastics. Think about the big boxes of paper towels, refrigerators, washers, and dryers, or cartons that are stacked and shipped without pallets. The clamp applies pressure from both sides and allows the operator to lift and move the product. My first experience with a clamp was unloading, stacking, and storing washers and dryers. A lot of washers and dryers. A unique experience, to say the least. A paper roll clamp is common in paper mills, printing operations, and packaging plants. These clamps are made to handle large rolls of paper without damaging them, and that takes skill. Too much pressure can crush or deform the roll. Too little pressure and the roll can slip. That operator has to understand the equipment, the product, the weight, the diameter, and the clamp pressure. One of my accounts used these. Although I've never picked up one of those big heavy rolls, I enjoyed watching them. The skill and focus was mesmerizing to me. The barrel clamp or drum clamp is used where drums, barrels, or round containers, have to be moved. You may see these in chemical operations, food ingredient facilities, beverage plants, oil and lubricant operations, recycling, waste handling, and different manufacturing places. The goal is simple. Safely grab and move a round container that does not sit on our forks the same way a pallet does. This is an amazing tool. And then we have the slip sheet attachment, often called a push-pull attachment. This one is really interesting. This is a pretty common tool in the distribution and storage environments. A lot of times, product will be shipped on slip sheets. Instead of using a wooden pallet, the product sits on a thin sheet, often cardboard, fiberboard, or sometimes even plastic. The attachment grips the lip of that sheet, pulls the load onto wide platens, and then pushes it off at the destination. Manufacturers describe slip sheet handling as a way to ship, receive, and warehouse on inexpensive slip sheets rather than pallets, especially for bagged items, canned products, and bottled items. I've seen all kinds of products shipped on slip sheets. So why would a company use the slip sheet or push-pull? Well, money, space, weight, sanitation, less pallet costs, less room needed for pallet storage, and overall less wood in the facility. In some operations, especially export, grocery, beverage, and manufacturing, slip sheets can really make sense. But, and this is an important point, just because an attachment can do something does not mean every operator should be using it. Our training makes it clear that attachments change the forklift, the capacity, its operation, and maintenance plates or decals must be changed when a forklift is equipped with an attachment. And an unloaded forklift with an attachment must be treated as partially loaded. And we need to remember that modifications or additions affecting capacity or safe operation require prior written approval from the forklift manufacturer. That is a big deal. When we hang a clamp, push-pull, rotator, or barrel clamp on the front of a forklift, we are adding weight. We are changing the load center. We are changing visibility. We may be changing the way the forklift turns, stops, tilts, and reacts. And we are definitely changing the responsibility of the operator. A standard forklift operator already needs to know their data plate, load capacity, load center, travel speed, dock safety programs, pedestrians, horn use, ramps, trailers, and stability triangle. Add an attachment, and now that operator also needs to know clamp pressure, product damage points, hydraulic functions, attachment inspections, load shape, grip points, and how that attachment affects the capacity. Okay, the question of pay usually comes up. Having these experiences may bring more pay to the table. Not always, but it can. In many operations, an operator who can run a set-down forklift is valuable. An operator who can run a set-down forklift with a clamp, a slip sheet, a roll clamp, or a drum clamp attachment may be even more valuable. Why, you may ask? Because fewer people can do it well. It requires more training, more patience, and more judgment. But more pay should also mean more accountability. We cannot say, I want the extra wages, but then not accept the extra responsibility. Attachments are specialty tools. Specialty tools require specialty habits. Let's talk about some of the dangers. With a carton clamp, the big risks are product damage, dropped loads, crushing, poor visibility, and over-clamping. If the operator clamps too hard, they can crush the freight. If they do not clamp hard enough, the load can slide out. If the load is not square, stable, or properly positioned, it can shift during travel. With a paper roll clamp, the risks include roll damage, drop rolls, unstable travel, and poor positioning. A paper roll can be heavy, round, and unforgiving. Once it starts moving, it can keep moving. That means the operator has to think ahead. With a barrel or drum clamp, we add the risk of round containers, liquid movement, chemical exposure, spills, and environmental concerns. A drop drum is not just damaged freight. It may be a hazmat situation. It may become a slip hazard. It may require evacuation, cleanup, special reporting, and investigation. With a slip sheet attachment, the danger is often in the technique. Push-pull work is not the same as sliding forks under a pallet. The operator has to grab the lip of the sheet, pull the load correctly, keep the product stable, and push it off without tipping, tearing, or shifting the load. Industry sources note that push-pull attachments require specific training, as do all attachments, and can reduce forklift capacity because of the attachment's weight, and add complexity compared with normal pallet handling. And this is why some companies discourage their use. It may not be because the attachment is a bad thing. It may be because the facility does not have enough properly trained operators, or maybe because the product damage is just too high. It could be because the loads are just so inconsistent. To be honest, these tools, especially the slip sheet, just don't make sense in all situations. I know of a lot of produce houses that discourage their use because of so much product damage. They just don't save a lot of unloading time if you spend any saved time picking up damaged product. And in our world, as we've learned, speed can get us in trouble. A clamp operator cannot be rushed. A slip sheet operator cannot be careless. And a barrel clamp operator cannot assume every drum is stable. These jobs require focus. So where do we see these attachments? You may see clamps in receiving, shipping, production staging, appliance warehouses, paper product warehouses, grocery distribution, consumer goods, and retail distribution. I've seen roll clamps in paper mills, printing plants, packaging plants, and ports. And you can see barrel clamps in chemical plants, food manufacturing, beverage, oil, recycling, and sanitation-related operations. And you may find slip sheet attachments in export loading, food and beverage distribution, manufacturing, agricultural products, electronics, cosmetics, and operations trying to reduce pallet cost. If you are an associate, forklift attachments can be an opportunity. They can make you more marketable and make you more useful to your facility. They can help you move from basic forklift operation into a specialty equipment role. But do not just jump on one. And we all know to never get on or even touch a machine or piece of powered industrial equipment that we have not been trained on and certified to operate, right? Ask our managers for training. Ask to have the data plate explained to us. Ask how the attachment changes the machine's capacity. Ask what the inspection checklist looks like. And ask what products are approved to be handled. It's really important to ask, what clamp pressure should be used. Ask what damages have happened before. Ask what near misses have occurred. In other words, communicate, ask questions, and learn. Be a professional. Be that employee we're always talking about. And if you are a lead, supervisor, or manager, do not assume a certified forklift operator is automatically qualified to use every attachment in the building. That operator needs equipment-specific and workplace-specific training. And the attachment needs to be part of the inspection program. The data plate needs to match the truck and attachment. And the operator needs to know the limitations. OSHA's, or your country's powered industrial truck guidance, reminds us that the data plate gives the operator critical information, such as forklift weight and capacity, and operators should read it to understand the truck's capabilities and limits. I think it's important to note here that a forklift attachment is not just an add-on. It is a new responsibility bolted to the front of the truck. Yes, it can help us move freight better, and it can reduce pallet use, and it can protect product. And in certain environments, it can improve efficiency, even open doors for operators who want to learn more and earn more. But it can also reduce capacity, block visibility, damage freight, create spills, drop loads, and hurt people when used incorrectly. So the message for today is simple. You don't need to fear forklift attachments, but we have to respect them, learn them, and inspect them, and understand what they change. And never forget that the more specialized the tool, the more professional that we, the operator, needs to be. Well, I hope I answered a few of the questions on attachments. Until next time, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep building your career one safe move at a time. And please keep in mind that the safety of ourselves and our team is our first responsibility.